Good day everyone, I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at a remarkable ship from the Cunard line, the RMS Saxonia. She was a British ocean liner and the very first of 4 nearly identical sister ships, and also the lead ship of the Saxonia class, built by John Brown and Company between 1954 and 1957 for the UK Montreal service. But her story didn't end there. Renamed Carmania, later in her career, she would go on to serve under a completely different flag. In August 1973, she was sold to the Soviet Union's Black Sea Shipping Company and took on a new identity as the SS Leonid Sobinov. Her long and fascinating journey finally came to an end in 1999 when she was scrapped. Hello everyone, it's Jamie from Old Shipping Lines, and in today's video we'll explore the full story of this Cunard liner from her construction and early voyages all the way to her final days. Following the Second World War, Cunard continued their Canadian service with 4 aging liners from the 1920s, the Franconia, the Ascania, the Scythia, and the Samaria. By 1951, the company decided it was time to modernize the route between Liverpool and Montreal with a brand new class of ships. The vessel was to be constructed by the renowned shipbuilders John Brown and Company. Now, if we quickly go over the specifications of this ship, the vessel would have a gross registered tonnage of 21,637 tons. Her length would measure 608 feet, or approximately 185 meters, and her beam would be 80 feet, which equals around 24 meters. The vessel was designed for a service speed of 20 knots. She would be the lead ship of the Saxonia class passenger vessels. Her 3 sister ships would follow: the RMS Ivernia, the RMS Carinthia, and finally the RMS Sylvania. Before we move on, it's worth noting that all 4 of these ships have incredible histories of their own, and don't worry, we'll definitely be covering those in future videos. But for now, let's continue with the story of the Saxonia. The Saxonia was launched on 17th February 1954 by Lady Churchill, wife of the then Prime Minister. Her name revived that of an earlier Cunard liner, the RMS Saxonia, which had first entered service in 1899 and was scrapped in 1925. She was a strikingly handsome vessel with the graceful curve of her stem and the positioning of the mast just aft of the bridge echoing the design of the Caronia. However, it was the distinctive domed Clydebank funnel that set her class apart from the rest of the Cunard fleet. The ship was designed specifically for the Canadian service. Her interiors were heavily influenced by Canadian themes. The first-class cocktail bar featured scenes from the Yukon, while the first-class restaurant showcased murals adorned with maple leaves, alongside symbols such as the fleur-de-lis, tomahawk, and bow and arrow. The tourist-class smoking room was adorned with designs inspired by the tribal blankets of the Choctaw Indians, set against warm panels of Douglas fir, totem poles, each crowned with a husky dog. Sculpted from perspex marked the boundary between the smoking room and the cocktail bar. Canadian influences were carried throughout the ship's foyers and staircases, most notably in a large map of the Dominion that invited passengers to pause and explore its details. Passengers could observe through specially provided opera glasses. Designed primarily for the immigrant trade, the Saxonia was equipped with accommodations for 125 first class, and 800 tourist class passengers. Notably, she was the first Cunard vessel to be fitted with stabilizers. After completing her sea trials in August 1954, she arrived in Liverpool on the 23rd of that month. 10 days later, under the command of Captain Andrew McKellar and with a full complement of passengers, she departed on her maiden voyage to Quebec and Montreal. She returned to Liverpool 18 days later, on 21st September, an impressive 9 hours ahead of schedule. Despite facing heavy gales, she managed to break the existing crossing record, trimming it down to 4 days, 23 hours, and 24 minutes, with an average speed of 20.74 knots. The new ship, it seemed, was off to an excellent start. Now let's jump ahead to the year 1962. In June 1962, during a tense and stormy meeting of shareholders, Cunard chairman Sir John Brocklebank revealed a staggering company loss of £1,700,000 for the previous financial year. He assured those present that the company was seeking the best possible advice regarding the future of the Saxonia-class fleet. As part of that strategy, he announced that Saxonia and Ivernia would be withdrawn for reconditioning on the Clyde, where they would be refitted for cruising. And so, at the close of the North Atlantic summer season, both ships returned to the hands of John Brown on the Clyde, leaving only Carinthia to maintain the Liverpool-Montreal service. In September of that year, it was announced that the Saxonia and Ivernia would not only undergo reconditioning, but would also be renamed Carmania and Franconia, respectively. This marked a new beginning for both ships. When the Carmania and Franconia emerged from the Clydebank yard in the spring of 1963, they were a stunning sight in their signature cruising green livery, adorned with the classic Cunard funnel colors. The refit, costing the company $12 million, had primarily focused on installing full air conditioning and modern bath and toilet facilities in the tourist class cabins. With their sleek, contemporary furnishings and decor, the ships looked more like brand new vessels than merely refurbished ones. One of the standout features was the expansive Lido area aft, complete with a kidney-shaped swimming pool and a spacious sun terrace shielded by glass screens. Each ship now had the capacity to carry 600 cruising passengers. On 2 April 1963, Sir John Brocklebank inspected the Carmania in Southampton and was overjoyed by the ship's transformation. He also announced the new itineraries for both vessels. In the summer, they would sail between Rotterdam and Montreal, and in the winter, they would cruise from Florida to the Caribbean. While Cunard had given the ships new identities, the old focus on North Atlantic profits was proving difficult to move away from. Although the initial sailings from Rotterdam to Canada were well booked, the success was short-lived. Industrial issues continued to plague the four ships, though not all of them were caused by their own crews. In October 1963, tensions flared in Quebec when the Carmania docked during a dock workers' strike, and a crew member was shot and wounded in the chaos. Let's jump forward to around 1968. The Carmania was cruising from Port Everglades when issues with US fire regulations forced the cancellation of her Christmas cruise. After necessary modifications, she set sail on November 11, 1969 for a 12-day Caribbean voyage, with her first port of call being St. Lucia, Thomas, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. However, On the afternoon of Sunday, 12th January, at high tide, while cruising parallel to the shore, she ran aground on a sandbank about a mile off the west side of San Salvador Island in the Bahamas. It took 5 days to refloat her, by which time the rest of the cruise had to be cancelled. Her passengers were then transferred to the Italian liner Flavia for the return journey to Miami. After a dive inspection, the Carmania was sent to Newport News, Virginia for repairs, remaining out of service until 8th February 1969. Following an inquiry in Southampton, it was determined that the incident had been caused by a fault in the Admiralty chart of the area. 3 months later, on the 11th of May, the Carmania collided with the Russian ship Frunze. Fortunately, the damage to both vessels was minimal, and it had little impact on her cruising schedule. In December 1971, both the Franconia and Carmania were laid up in Southampton. 4 months later, reports suggested an imminent deal with Tokyo Yusen of Japan, but this ultimately fell through. Rumors then circulated that C.Y. Tung, the Hong Kong shipping magnate, was interested. But it soon became apparent that no immediate purchaser was forthcoming. On 14th May 1972, the ships were relocated to the River Fowl for further layup. In August 1973, the Carmania was purchased by the Soviet Union's Black Sea Shipping Company and renamed after Leonid Sobinov. In January 1979, while the ship was docked in Sydney Harbor, an 18-year-old crew member, Liliana Gasinskaya, slipped out of a porthole wearing nothing but a red bikini and swam across the harbor to seek political asylum. She quickly gained fame as the Red Bikini Girl, and among other milestones, became the first nude centerfold in the Australian edition of Penthouse magazine. By 1995, the liner was laid up, and in 1999, after a long and varied career, she was brought to Alang, India, where she was scrapped. And that wraps up the fascinating story of the RMS Saxonia, later known as Carmania and SS Leonid Sobinov. From her luxurious beginnings with Cunard to her final years under the Soviet flag, she truly had a life full of twists and turns, one that's a testament to the ever-changing world of maritime history.
And that marks the end of a video, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing to the channel, as that would help out the channel a lot. Now, if you have any thoughts, comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, as I absolutely love reading your comments. And please let me know in the comment section down below as well what ships you would like me to cover in the future. Now be as well sure to check out our social media pages. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we also recently have a website, oldshippinglines.com, where we have articles of the ships we cover and we have book reviews as well. I think you will enjoy the website very much. Now, with that out of the way, guys, I wish you all a good night or day, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay happy, and we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye, my friends.